Welcome to another Victory Series episode of Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Howard, Tony LaMonica, aka Boxhead98TL, with you here for another episode of Banditland Boulevard. This time, as we've seen, it seems to be like the usual thing now. Your Buffalo Bandits are going back to the finals as they took down the Toronto Rock. I don't even want to just say take down the Toronto Rock. They blew those bastards out in both
Mhm,
games. 14-5 in game one in Buffalo, and then they go to Hamilton. Remember the last time they went to Hamilton? They lost 18-7. This time,
mhm.
they go back and they absolutely turn the tide on them and win 17-8. Tony, Bandits going back to the finals. They're either facing against the Roughnecks or the Mammoth, two teams that have beaten us a couple of times in the finals. But how you feeling about those two wins?
Well, obviously, the two wins made a statement for the East, and also for the fact that, like last year, we won barely. We won by nail-biting offenses, and basically the games that we've had faced the following seasons, like we faced Albany the first round, and then we faced Toronto again. So we would like to say this year is 10,000 times different than last year, especially with how tight we've been playing, full throttle, speed ahead, and then trying to coast to win games. That's not going to win you games because, like you said, this is a game of runs. And also the fact that how they have allowed opponents to come back and literally made a chance to come back or even surpassed us. But this year is different. We've played smart offense in the first half, like we go toe to toe, figure out what their game style is, and then in the second half, it's been all foot to the gas pedal and never looking back. And that's what we got to do against this next series for sure to secure a fifth championship.
It's been absolutely crazy. I mean, the Bandits, you just look at the way that they're playing. And like you said, the last time we played those guys in the
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Conference Finals,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nail biting is an understatement right there. I mean, those games were
Sure.
so close, especially game two, where they almost tied it with no time left on the clock going to overtime, giving the
Exactly.
Rock an opportunity to possibly force a game three if they were to win that game in overtime. The
Mm-hmm.
ball was right at the goal line when all of the when the seconds hit zero, when every second hit zero, the ball was right on the goal line. It was conclusive that it was not a goal. But in
Mm-hmm.
this time, this game, game one, game two, these games are over by the middle of the third quarter. I mean, you can argue that the second game was over by halftime. It was just that
Sure.
bad. Just a complete reverse of what happened last time in that building. What you're looking at right now is a pissed off Bandits team. It's a motivated Bandits team. It's a Bandits team that never says die, at least right now. Like I said before, you got the Mammoth, who beat us in '06 and '22, or
Mm-hmm.
the Roughnecks, who beat us in '04 or '19.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you either way you want to look at it, I don't care. You can say it. I mean, I've said it before. We are cursed against one of these two teams, or maybe even both of these teams, because of
Mm-hmm.
our playoff lack thereof, success against these two teams. But this team, I feel like is way more motivated to do. Like, I don't even know what happened last year in 2022. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if they got in their own heads or whatever the case was, but they weren't winning convincing games they didn't even, it wasn't that convincing in the quarterfinals against the Firewolves. I mean, let's be real. They won by 3 or 4 goals in that game, but that was a game where they really needed to make a statement. They didn't do that, but they did it this year against Rochester, putting up 20. Last year, the Rock, both of those games were chew your fingernails all the way to the bottom, man. And then
Mm-hmm.
they squeaked through, and then through the skin of their teeth in game one of the finals last year, if it wasn't for a crappy line change for Colorado, we could have been
Right.
looking at getting swept in 2 games.
That's
Um,
true.
this team is more pissed off, more motivated than I've ever seen the Bandits before, probably since
Mm-hmm.
2008.
Yeah, you got to admit how much the offense has grown ever since last year. Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Chris Cloutier coming back from injury, Chase coming back from injury, and other players on the roster this year stepping up and being the goal scorer, like Ian McKay, Brad McCauley through a couple games here and there. Everybody is doing their job. And that's what Johnny Tavares has been probably trying to tell these guys. Hey, you don't need to carry the load on your shoulders. It's not always about the top two goal scorers on your team. It's a team effort. That's what's going to help you win these games. It's not just based on, oh, we got to rely on our go-to offensive guy, and that's it. We're not going to be the ones scoring goals or getting this assists and whatever and helping contribute. But now it's starting to gel. It's starting to come together in a puzzle. We're finally got that maybe final piece to say we can complete our story and say, thank you. This is it. we've got the right attitude, we got the right chemistry, and I feel that after the punishment that we put against Rochester and Toronto this season, has really gotten the fans basically saying, this offense is clicking at the right time going into the finals. Either or, I don't care if it's Calgary, I don't care if it's Colorado. They, like you said, they're pissed off from last year. They want this more than ever. And I feel that this could be the determining point. We may see a fifth time championship in Buffalo.
And in order to avenge that feeling of anger from last year, what the Bandits need to do is, going to the finals is great. We love it when the Bandits go to the finals. We think it's absolutely fantastic. But you have to win a championship. If you need to avenge those feelings, a championship, winning, I think Bill Parcells from the Giants said it best. I think he said winning heals all things. Last year, a perfect way to heal that wound last year is to redeem yourself and win it this year. We've seen teams in other sports go to the finals, maybe go to the World Series, go to Stanley Cup Finals, go to the Super Bowl 1 year, lose it, and then in the next 1 to 2 seasons, they go back, and then they avenge that defeat, and they pick up their fan base from the previous time where they lost in that Super Bowl. The Bandits, it's very, very similar to that. I think this year they're more motivated than ever to go in and win this championship. And like what Luke Weil said in our Bandits Mafia group in Facebook, he said, some guy, I don't remember who it was, somebody said, I hope we don't face against Colorado. I'm pulling for Calgary all the way. Luke Wiles commented on that and said, well, in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So at this point, I think all Bandit fans' mindset should be, we don't really care about Game 3 between the two teams tonight. We really don't care at all. We have to worry about ourselves and controlling our own destiny.
Absolutely. And especially now having the week off and looking on into the Game 3 tonight. And folks, if you haven't even found out about that yet, it is Game 3, 9:30 game time on ESPN Plus or TSN. Calgary versus Colorado to determine who faced your Buffalo Bandits in the finals. To me, okay, now here's the thing a lot of people have been asking me.
And it's going to be in the Saddle Dome, too. It's in the Saddle Dome in Calgary.
It's in Calgary. Yes, it is. Also, they've been also asking me, Tony, how do you feel about who do you want to face in the finals? I basically pretty much said 3 words, and that's I don't care.
Let's go Bandits.
No, that's it. Let's go Bandits. Basically, the fact is that we are hungry. Our offense has gotten better. Our defense has gotten stronger. Our goaltending, Are you guys saying Matt Finch should not be playing no more? Are you nuts?
He's elite.
Are you nuts?
He's still
elite mode right now. He's in God mode. Let's just say he's in God mode right now, the way he's been playing goaltender for us. He's been lights out.
He is unconscious, man.
No way anybody of you should doubt the man's skill because he is such a great goaltender, and I am glad we picked him up when we could. And obviously that brought a lot of fan base back. Normally our attendance average was like around 11 to 12. Now it's up to 14, 15 per.
16,000, yeah.
What do you guys, does it take that just to say, hey, come to the best team in the league right now? I'm going to say it. They are the best team in the league right now because they prove it time and time again. So basically right now, it's their own way to do it. Like I said last year, they got to want it more than we do because they're the ones out there playing their asses off for us, not us. We're just there to support them and letting them know that we've got their backs the whole way.
And I wrote something down, and I took a couple notes last week, and I put it on our Bandits Mafia Facebook group. And if you haven't joined yet, get a Facebook account and join Bandits Mafia because it's a great way to communicate with other Bandit fans. But I said this on May 14th at 11:17 a.m. It was the day after we swept the Toronto Rock, aka one of our other little brothers. But I said important notes. This is the Bandits' 12th championship final appearance in franchise history. They will either face the Mammoth, who beat Buffalo in 06 and 22, or the Roughnecks, who beat the Bandits in 04 and 19. The high-powered Bandits offense, get ready for this, Tony, has sparked 51 goals in 3 playoff games. I will say that one more time. 51 goals in 3 playoff games. That's absolutely electric. Let me see. Matt Vince in 3 playoff games the Bandits have played has held his opponents to under 10 goals in all 3 games. That is just sick. Matt Vince right there. The team will have a mini break until Game 1 of the finals, so we have this whole week off. The date, which is still to be determined as of May 20th at 3:19 p.m. The date is still to be determined, so it's either probably going to be Friday or Saturday. But we got to figure these things out because I have to work on Saturday, but I work up until 4:30 on Friday. So if the game's on
Mhm.
Friday, I'd like to know if I could attend the game one of the finals. Um,
Absolutely.
but hopefully this team can get some of these nagging injuries healed, like Chase Frazier, Tejo Kananakoke, but at the same point, not kill the momentum of this elite offense and goal scoring. Let's go Bandits. That's what
Yeah,
I'd said.
basically,
Hmm.
basically that's what they should do. And then, I'm sure Johnny T has gotten them aboard and saying, look, even though we have the week off, we still need to stay focused. We need to make sure our goals are intact. We need the offense to still keep clicking and our defense to be smart and play aggressive, but also to keep Matt Vince safe as much as possible. I mean, basically, if they try to do what I believe Rochester or maybe even Toronto, what was trying to do is run our goalie, and they knew that. And I'm glad Johnny T made the choice right near the end to put Shanahan in and get him the feeling of playoff mode. And basically, he looked good too,
He did.
because he wanted to also, you got to remember, folks, too, when Matt Vince will soon retire, and we don't know when. He might come back for another year.
He
We don't
probably
know.
will. He
He
probably will.
may.
Yep.
But it all depends on the ending. I got a feeling at the end of this season, it will be like his decision time to find out if he wants to do it one more time or he wants to pass the torch to Shanahan. But again, we all feel that it's the one thing we want him to do is have that win. We want him to see that ring to say, hey, you accomplished this with two teams, and one with Rochester, and hopefully soon one with Buffalo. And I have a great feeling in my mindset, or in my body too, saying, hey, they're going to do it this year. I got a strong feeling they're going to do it this year.
Yeah, you really hope so because this team had the potential to become a dynasty too, if they were to
Mm-hmm.
just remember how to play lacrosse, I guess you could say, in 2019 and 2022, not get lost in your own head, because it is a mental game as well. And I think
Right.
that's really what got the Bandits those last 2 years. Well, I think they ran into a hot goalie, number one, against Colorado. Number
Mm.
two, I think against Calgary, you can say the same thing, but I think they psyched themselves out a little too much and were making a lot of dumb decisions that year. I think this year's a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why the Bandits took down the Toronto Rock in the fashion that they did is for a few reasons. Number one, let's go to game one. The secondary scoring was absolutely crazy, despite the absolutely piss poor referees. I mean, those guys were
Mm-hmm.
completely terrible. I mean, who was it? Was it Brad McCall? No, it was Josh Byrne taking the ball into the zone. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally a helmet to helmet hit from the Toronto Rock player, and the guy only gets 2 minutes. Um, they called, was it Ian McKay who got pushed down in his own crease? They called him for holding, even though he got
Right.
shoved into his own goalie. I mean, the
Yes.
referees were terrible, but they didn't play any effect in the game whatsoever. Bandits took them down 14-5, and that game was over by the middle of the third quarter. You got secondary scoring. Chris Kluche was tearing them up. Ian McKay looked great. Josh Byrne. I mean, this dude, 5 goals and 2 assists, I believe it was, or something like that. I mean, the guy was absolutely electric. Dane Smith, we scored 14 goals in that game, and Dane Smith didn't even contribute in one of those goals. That shows you how
Nope.
dangerous this team could be. But at the same time, he did get 8 assists.
Yes,
And
he did.
based off of, I mean, absolutely elite goaltending too. It's really hard to stop Tom Schreiber and guys like Corey Small. Corey Small was held to 0 goals in game one,
Mm-hmm.
which is absolutely crazy to me. And then you got to deal with some of those guys that are instigating, like Brad Creighton. I don't know what's been going on with Mitch DeSnu, but he's been trying to slash and try to cheap shot a lot of our players. I don't know if that was a graceful departure from him out of the organization, but Mitch DeSnu, you gotta take a chill pill. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror. You're not all that, bro. I mean, you had your time in Buffalo. You had a shot to win the championship in 19. You decided to go to Toronto. We didn't want to bring you back. And I mean, don't take your anger out and stop slashing players like Priolo at the end of the game when you're down by 9. And if that's the case, Priolo's going to drop the gloves like he did, and it's up to the referees to really let them go. But Mitch DeSnu, I don't know who you think you are, but you were very good in Buffalo, but you had your flaws, like being flat-footed. You were caught
Mm-hmm.
flat-footed. You were caught with your hand in the cookie jar multiple times in this series, and that's a big reason, the lack thereof on the Toronto Rock side of defense, the reason why they lost this series. 14 goals in one game, 17 in another, 14
Yeah.
goals in Banditland, and then being held to under 10 in both games. It wasn't even close.
No,
It
it
wasn't
can't
even
be.
close.
Can't be. And also to mention another player that we also forgot to mention was Billy Hostrawser. He was also playing like a scumbag. And no offense to the Toronto organization, but those two are your cancer, and you need to get rid of them quick because they're going to slow your defensive down. They're going to just make it weaker than ever before, and you guys have to get rid of them because the way that they were doing, they weren't thinking of winning the game. They were thinking of hurting people, and that's not how you make out your coach to be. And believe me, I'm sure the Weasel himself got a look and saying, what's going on with your players? Why are they actually trying to hurt these guys? And because you guys can't beat us or you guys don't want to go play actual lacrosse against us. And that's something you got to also look at too, is the head coaching is the one that makes the calls. And he says, go out there and start trouble, or go out there and hurt somebody, or go out there and end their career. That's not being a good coach. That's being a person that's failing in life. And I just hate to say it like that.
No, but that is the sad reality of it all. And Toronto fans got on the Buffalo Bandits so hard when they did not protect Connor Fields in that expansion draft. When at the same time, it was you spaz bozos that should have kept Rob Hellier protected, but instead you protected Billy Hostrauser. So it's funny how the cards kind of fall together. You kind of needed Rob Hellier in this type of series. Instead of losing him to Las Vegas, we handled Connor Fields just fine in the quarterfinals. We're not bitching about Connor Fields anymore. We honestly couldn't give a crap which team he plays for right now. If he played for Toronto, I mean, yeah, that would really, really suck. But he plays for Rochester. They got off of a 6-0 start, and they were first round exits. They were frauds the whole season, and the Bandits took those guys down. You could have kept Rob Hellier, saved him from a struggling year in Las Vegas in that expansion team. You could have sent Billy Hostrauser over there, but you left him unprotected. So who's really trash talking now, and who's in the finals now? You got to answer that question.
We are, and that's all we can say. You know what? We put our money where your mouth is basically we just said our offense is better than yours. Yes. Our defense is stronger than yours.
Way stronger. Yep.
And our goaltending, no offense to Nick Rose, because when he's hot, he's good too. But again, I think we all know from the years that we played against him, we just ate his weakness alive. And that's all they did was score him like Swiss cheese. And there was no other way to stop it because number one, didn't have a defense in front of you to protect you. And two, you're all over the place. So you don't know exactly who you're going to stop at all. And no matter what shot was coming to you, you just couldn't stop anything, not even a beach ball.
It was like he was playing dodgeball. It was like he was playing dodgeball in there the whole time. I mean, he got yanked in both games. He got yanked in game 1 and in game 2. And the Bandit fans, they were louder than hell in games 1 and games 2 in the taunting.
Yeah, sorry about that.
The taunting department. We heard Rosie, you suck. And the backup goal even came out, and the Bandits fans were giving him crap too. And all he had to do was, I mean, when you're a backup goalie, it's almost like a backup quarterback, right? Your job is to limit the damage until that guy comes back, until your starter comes back.
That never happened.
No, they did not let up. They did not limit any sort of damage whatsoever. The Bandits were on cruise control by the second half in both games. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Let's just call it how it is. And I really hope, because like I said before in that Facebook group, I said, you know what? It's great to have this little mini break in between, to have your Chase Frazier's heal and have some of your other players who are banged up heal. I mean, Ian McKay went down pretty hard in game 1, but he came back in game 2, and you got to think he's probably still injured, but he wanted to play game 2 anyway. This gives him that time to heal, but the downside of that is there's nothing more of a momentum killer than just a break in the schedule. I hope that this break doesn't let up on this elite Bandits offense, and they just pick up right where they left off from 2 weeks prior, going into game 1 of the finals. I don't really care who it's against, whether it's against Calgary or Colorado. We've lost to both teams in the finals, so it's kind of hard to pick a better of the two options here. As long as the Bandits just stick to their game, but you really hope that this momentum doesn't get lost in the little break that we had this past week.
I don't feel like it will. It's, I mean, like I said, I mean, it does kind of suck because you're like, oh crap, no, we got a week off. We're off. Like you said, the momentum is kind of like, maybe we might be worried, but again, we're not. I don't think we are. I mean, honest to God, folks, I mean, fans across that are supporting the orange and black, I don't think that they're going to lose their edge and the way how their offense is clicking.
They shouldn't.
The way they got it going, I think they're going to do just fine. They got each other's backs. They're going to score at will. Believe me, they will. And the strategy that we're going to stick with is working. So again, don't change it. Keep it going. You know what you're doing. Just play to have fun and do it for yourselves. That's all you can do. I mean, we're very happy that you're going back again to the finals. This is like one of the dynasty teams that in the city of Buffalo has been proving themselves time and time again that they can go there.
Year
But
after year.
now,
Yep.
but now for us, we want to see them win. This is something deserving for them and for mostly the fans itself. We deserve this win.
And we know that Buffalo can punch their ticket to the finals in any season. We know that.
Sure.
It's just about finishing the job this year, pulling the trigger and finally ending it. I mean, this is what the Bandits need to do. They need to step on their throats, never look back, just kick it into overdrive and just send them back in the rearview mirror. Have them eat your dust. I don't really care. But the Bandits, I mean, this is when they absolutely need to finish the job. And what better way to have a pick-me-up for the fan base and the team itself than by a 14-5 victory in Game 1 and a 17-8 victory in Game 2. I was watching that game on TV, Game 2, and I was like, oh my God. Like, the Bandits, like, they're not just going to win this game. They're going to pile drive these guys out of their own city, out of their own I mean, the Hamilton Rock getting pummeled in their own arena. It was absolutely crazy to see, but it was almost kind of expected. Like, you saw what they did to him in Game 1, and you're almost like, well, like Johnny T said it, he's like, before Game 2, he's like, it's probably going to be a little bit more competitive, a little bit more close. It was not. They lost by 9 in Game 1. They lost by 9 in Game 2. And, I mean, Toronto Rock, I mean, they were like little armadillos or turtles. They just hid in their shells to protect themselves. But the Bandits still gave them an ass whooping of the lifetime in both of those games. And so if I had to choose my player of the series, let me see, since they played on back-to-back nights and they scored, 14 goals and 17 goals. They scored 31 goals in 2 games in back-to-back nights, which is crazy. But I would have to still say Matt Vince is my player of the series. I know that we scored 14 in Game 1 and 17 in Game 2, but this guy is in his, he's already 40 years old. He's going to turn 41 in the offseason.
Yep.
And he's holding the Toronto Rock, who, by the way, last time we faced against them in Toronto, they beat us 18-7.
Yeah.
He held them to under 10 goals in both games. He's the best goalie in the game by far right now. He's one of the best goalies in NLL history by far. And he really was that pick-me-up. I mean, this guy's playing unconscious right now in that series. They were getting some good shots, and he was making some great saves. Matt Vince is my player of the series for sure.
Well, for the series, I would have to agree with you completely. I was going to pick Matt Vince myself. But if I had to pick another guy specifically to be like the go-to guy, you know who woke up? Good old number 2, Chris Cloutier.
The Deuce,
finally finding that Bomberry sidearm shot, and boy, oh boy, does he
the Roger Weiss sidearm, yep.
Yeah, and it's been working. And you know what? Now that, like you said, it's like Dane Smith, no goals in the first game, right?
But we didn't even need him to score, which is the scary thing.
And again, that's how good our offense is, so good. But Chris Cloutier has proven time and time again when he gets the chances to score, and I think a little bit of motivation from his fans, I'm going to say, myself included.
Yep. Me
basically
too.
Talked to him, Chris, and said, hey, you can, you will score goals in each game. So I want to see at least 2. And of course, he scores 5 the one game, then he scored a sock trick the next. Holy Jesus. He scored 11 goals, folks, in 2 games. How much more can you ask from
He scored
2?
4 goals in the first half of Game 2.
Okay, 4 goals, but still.
Well, no, he did score a sock trick in the game, but 4 of them were in the first half.
Okay, so what does that tell you? This offense is ready. They're
ridiculous.
Going to really show you guys that they are ready to beat whoever. I don't care if it's Calgary. I don't care if it's Colorado.
What did they overcome this year that they had nothing of last year? Injuries and adversity. Last year, they had all healthy players. They were blessed to be healthy virtually the whole season. This year, after that Rochester Road game, Josh Byrne goes down. Chris Cloutier's been out. Let me see. Injury here. Chase Frazier's still out. Oh, wait, Josh Byrne's activated. Oh, wait, no, he's back on the IL and whatever. We were dealing with injuries the whole season. And then right around the Riptide game at home where we won 11-10 in overtime, that was when we started to get healthy, fully healthy, which was a perfect time because we went right into the playoffs. And we were wondering, Chase Frazier, he has this lower body injury. He's going to play. He played in both games, but he ended up getting hurt, and he was taken out for precautionary reasons, the TSN broadcast said in Game 2. So hopefully he'll be back for Game 1 in the finals. I think he will be. And bringing back, I mean, so underrated to this team is Justin Robinson. His presence on defense, the fact that we have him back, he scored in both games on back-to-back nights. Game 1 on a breakaway. Game 2 was a very similar goal. He had a defender on him, gaining on him, but he still took the shot anyway and got absolutely lit up when he scored. But he scored 2 goals. I think he's had 0 goals last year in the regular season, 0 goals in the regular season this year. I mean, given he's missed 95% of the regular season this year.
Yeah.
But 2 goals coming in the semifinals or the Eastern Conference Finals, whatever you want to call them, at the most important times. His presence on defense, he'll lay a guy out. He'll block
Yep.
shots. And I guess he'll score goals too. He's coming
Yeah.
at the right time.
Yep, and basically, even though he gave us a little scare the last game because he was limping off the field, but he went out, got himself checked, and he said he was good to come back. So he came back, and we're all pleased that he's okay. But this is a good week to have a resting type week, is basically to heal and come back 100% and 10,000 times stronger than ever. And again, he has been a big piece to the defense too as well. And I'm so glad we got him back because like the last previous season before his injury, he was really one of our top defensemen that we could not say no to. And
he was really holding it down for sure.
He was, and I'm glad we got him back at the right time. This is probably his time to say, I can do this too, guys. So, and again, with Steve Priolo being the captain of not only just the defense, but the team itself, and really leading the charge for these guys, I've got a strong feel. I'm not going to say sweep, but I'd love to see sweep.
Yeah,
go
there's
in
nothing
the finals,
wrong with that. Yep.
Win game 1, go there, just do it. Just beat them where it hurts, especially at their house like they did it here. Our time.
It's like
That's
I don't really care like how you do it. I think we won 3 out of our 4 championships at home. That's cool. If you have to win game 1 at home and then go on the road and win game 2, I will not be offended. I don't care where we see them raise the championship trophy. If it's in Buffalo, awesome for game 3. If it's in either Calgary or Colorado in game 2, that's awesome. I don't care where you do it, just as long as you do it. I don't care.
That's it. That's it. That's all we want. Us fans just saying, hey, it's time. It's time for us to see the light as being the champions of the National Lacrosse League. So I agree.
Ticket punch, though. Ticket is punch to the finals. It's just who's going to win this series. Best 2 out of 3. Go to the finals. Game 1 is going to be in Buffalo. Game 2 will be either in Calgary or Colorado, depending on how that game turns out. Game 3, if necessary, will take place in Buffalo because we won the number 1 overall seed in the National Lacrosse League, so we automatically get game 1 and 3 in Buffalo if we need a game 3. So game 1 starts this weekend. We're still deciding on which date it's going to be, either Friday or Saturday. Fingers crossed that it's Friday. So Scotty Loeffler, if you're listening and you have that inside scoop, make sure you tell the Bandits, just kidding obviously, to slip them an extra 20 and say, hey, have it be on Friday so Big Trev can go to the game. That would be awesome.
That's right.
But I'm kidding obviously. But yeah, Tony, we're going to the finals again. Let's rejoice. Let's celebrate this week. Because I know I was definitely celebrating it last week a little bit too. Let's celebrate it this week, watching game 3. And then next week it's going to be all business. It's all business from there.
That's it. And all we can say is thank you to those who have been watching us from start to finish. And also, if you guys want to check us out, check us up on YouTube. We are now finally, so you can see our faces, so you know exactly who we look like. And give us that like and subscribe, and comment on us saying, hey, we want to hear more about Bandits lacrosse, and we want to know more about the sport of lacrosse.
We got a new logo out too. Yes,
we do. Thanks to Trevor over there. That's actually a pretty sick one too. I'm surprised you didn't do, no offense to the one that you did, but like a street crossing sign saying Banditland on one side and Boulevard on the other.
Believe me, I did try, and nothing was really clicking to me.
Nothing was coming up?
I was trying to make it orange too, but it just looked like it looked weird.
Black outline with the orange in the middle, and then maybe black with the white in the side. Nah, that could have been cool.
I had somebody in Bandits Mafia tell me it looked like the Boston Blazers logo, and I told them.
Somebody told me that too.
Yeah, I told him. I said, well, hopefully this show goes on for 3 years and doesn't fold like that fraudulent team did.
Yeesh. Let's not jinx us now, buddy. Come on. But also, we'd like to thank Spotify.fm and also Anchor for letting us be on the radio, tablet, phone, whatever you guys want to listen to us and hear us. Give us that 5-star rating as well. And also to our main sponsor, and as of right now, our only sponsor, to Mitchell's Tavern,
our
located
boys
at 734 Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda, New York, having the best roast beef in town. So if you guys want to go check it out, mention us, myself, Tony LaMonica. Over there is Trevor Howard.
That's
and tell him that the Banditland Boulevard said you guys have the best food around Tonawanda, so we want to check it out.
We're not kidding either.
They are good. But other than that, guys, just want to say again, thank you for allowing us to continue, and thank you for listening in. And we can't thank all of the fans that have been following and subscribing and, just listening in. We love you guys more than ever. And we hope to continue this next season as well and the future considerations. But let's see where it goes from there.
Absolutely. And we will be right back here in the middle of the week to determine and do our preview episode of Game 1 of the 2023 NLL Finals. Bandits versus fill in the blank. Bandits versus hopefully future losers and future runner-ups in 2023. So that's who we hope. But either way, this is going to be a crazy ending to this season. We really didn't know, especially after the expansion draft, how great we would do. But look at where we are now. Fast forward, we're back here in the same spot, same exact spot as we were last year, almost identical if Colorado wins. So we'll see what happens. And Tony, I think we only have 3 words left to say, other than the Rocks suck. We have 3 other words to say.
Let's go for it.
Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's go, Bandits.
Let's go. Champs of the East.
Let's go.